Bhairava Kalike Namostute. Om Namo Bhairavaya Namo Namah. Om Namo Bhairavaya Swaha. Jai Ma Kali. So good morning, and we're back on yet another video on a subject that I told you that I wanted to talk about yesterday. This subject I believe is quite important because when it comes to Bhairava Sadhana, generally the people who progress in Bhairava Sadhana really well, they are not usually in their first human births. They would have it's not like you directly move from a Pashu Yoni to Manusha Yoni and then you progress into Bhairava Sadhana in that birth itself. If that is the case, probably you would have been a bali animal, a goat that was offered to Bhairava on a specific tithi. Something like that would immediately grant you a higher birth as a human or as something celestial itself. So that is the vidhi, that is what it says. However, most likely somebody who's seeing a little bit of progress and an aching to chase after Bhairava would usually not be in their first birth. There would have been subsequent births as a human being itself. They would have been a man, they would have been a woman again, and they would have gone through multiple such roles that they have played, and these roles will not just carry the karma to your present birth, they'll also carry certain desires, and also not just desires, certain imprints in your jiva itself which you will not be able to distinguish. So when you're not able to distinguish that, what happens is that unknowingly you will still spend a lot of your life chasing those goals which inside your residual karma that you've carried to this birth, you will not be able to differentiate. You will not know why is it that you want to chase after that goal, but there is that urge. You might have been a great dancer who when you danced on the stage, you would have had an entire audience clapping for you, just falling on your feet, calling you the most exceptional dancer, at least if not on a very on the countrywide stage, at least at your regional level or at least at your local temple. That sort of residual memory in your jiva, but you're born as a laborer today and you're sitting in a hut. There is nobody looking at your dances. There's nobody who cares. Neither if you're dancing, probably your supervisor will rap you on the head and say, go back to work. So you're born in that kind of place. So what is the explanation for that? Why is that somebody who's born into a place where you are not meant to shine at all, but you have the urge? What is the reason? So these are all latent memories lying in your jiva from previous births, and this can hamper your progress spiritually, because unknowingly inside your jiva you have this urge to chase after that. You have that urge. So if somebody who's not into sadhana and all that, they have that urge, they can spend that entire life chasing after that unsuccessfully. They might not even have a single exposure to it. They will have a job, they'll have a family to fend for, they will not be able to afford the EMI, so they will have no time to go to a dance class, because of which they will never succeed. But inside their heart, they're constantly imagining themselves dancing on a stage which they have done previously. In any of their past life, they would have been an extraordinary dancer. Simple. And this life, they're not meant to chase after it. So what will happen? It will not happen. Somebody who has picked on a sadhana of a deity whose path itself is for the path of moksha itself. Now what happens is that you should, once you realize that all this is maya and you're just operating within this, finish off your karma, and your idea itself is to escape from the cycle of life and death, then you should realize that these latent memories that are always playing around in the back of your head is nothing but memories from your past births. So you want to be a cop or you want to be an army man, but you never really took effort for it. You are never you never chased after it, but always when you are stuck in some other job, or when you're having a bad day, you just sit in a corner and you just dream about that. Why? You're never taking a step for it, but you always want to do it. These are all desires that are just imprints of your past births. That is why you have those urge to chase after it, but you never really chase after it. Why? So realization of these desires, and to understand that these desires could ultimately lead you to another birth, that is very important in Bhairava sadhana, because the path itself is moksha. He will not be able to simply pluck you and give you moksha just because you go after him with the complete this one. You are doing 100 malas a day, you are doing 108 malas a day for the rest of your life. But what ultimately inside you have the desire to go back to a previous life, to be something that you were previously, or you have a desire that you suddenly picked up. The likelihood of having picked up a new desire after you are progressing well in Bhairava sadhana is very low, because he sort of makes you the ego, that is your name, your address, where you stay, what is your passions and all that is your ego, and the jiva both start very fastly colliding, and they start to become one as you progress in Bhairava sadhana. However, something from the past that you are carrying from previous births, something before the Bhairava sadhana initiation in your life itself, you have been carrying, that has a very high likelihood of disturbing your sadhana. You need to come to a point where you very strongly put the thought into this specific desire that I no longer want that. You should come to a state where you do not desire for that, because this is again a trap where you will get stuck there. So I myself had a lot of dreams that were unfulfilled, I would say, but as the sadhana progressed, I started to realize that would have been a very big waste of time if I had achieved that. There is a reason why you didn't achieve that. There is a reason why you did not become the ABCD desire that you had, because you're meant for this path. But if you're going to this path and also dreaming of that, please understand that he will give you that in the next birth or in this birth. And you get into that, you will not forget this, because this is what you're really, you have put 100 years into this particular dream in the last birth. So how do you come back to the moksha? So please be very careful about any desires that is sleeping within you, that you wish to achieve. You would maybe a huge bungalow and multiple cars, servants and all that. That could have been how you lived in the past birth. And the birth before that, you might have had nothing, wherein you chased after these deities, wishing for that kind of a life, and then you get that life in the next birth, but you did not go to the deity. Then they'll pluck you. I gave you this. I gave you the bungalow. I gave you the cars. I gave you the servants. Ultimately, you never came back to me again. Then you come back to me because I like you. You need to come to me. You come out of all this. Become one with, stop continuously chasing after a new ego. Become one with your jiva. So the next life you are born without any of this. You have no bungalow. You have no servants. But you still have those latent memories which crop up as a desire. You need to identify those, and he will help you identify those. You need to immediately say, no, there is no need for me to chase after that desire which is at the back of my mind. Before the sadhana began, I had these desires. I no longer have these. This is very important, because once you start engaging and making progress in the sadhana, your desires also, he will start listening. Okay, he's progressing really fast. He's eligible for this path. She is eligible for that path. However, she still desires for the past life or past extraordinary life that you had. She still desires for it. Why don't I give her one more great life? You'll come back again. As simple as that. So the ultimate goal of Bhairava path is moksha. It is not to live extraordinarily or not to gain material wealth. You can use Bhairava sadhana for material wealth. You will live really well in 2250. You will live really well in a very, very terrible earth where people are trying to escape from earth itself, full of pollution. The traffic jams will be like 5 hours to get from here to your office, and there will be new technology. There will be micromanagement to such an extent that you cannot even breathe. Even each breath will be taxed, because this is the Kali Yuga. Your plan is to not come back. That is your plan. So realize whatever desires you had before Bhairava sadhana should slowly ebb out. That is a great sign of progress. You are now letting go of those desires. Be very clear and tell him that I have none of that desires. My desire is oneness. I want to achieve you and to be one of you, part of you, out of the physical existence. Anybody who's making extraordinary progress but has not recovered from these desires will have that birth. And then the subsequent birth, there will still be that shadow of that past birth which keeps on coming. You will have nothing, you will be born in a family that has nothing to do with a particular desire, but you desire for it a lot. You don't even know why. My father, mother, sister, brother, none of them are in this path, but I have the specific urge to become an Olympic athlete, or I have the specific urge to get on the stage and start acting. Why? You might have been in your previous births, wished for that and achieved that, and then did not come to the path. Now he's given you an opportunity to come to the path. Nobody comes to Bhairava sadhana in their first life human birth unless they are a bali animal. That is the only likelihood that you entered into this path in your first birth itself, because your life ended at his balipedam. Then you're going to come back to him only. So unless that is the case, please understand these latent desires that you have, you need to get out of it. Just realize that human beings who specifically chase after bodily pleasures, pleasures of the body, be it food or any kind of relationship related thing, these are all very, very jivas that are in the human body very recently. They don't have many births behind them, because they have still not recovered from their animalistic instincts. So if you look at any animal, for example, if you take a bull and a cow, the moment they come to the season, they will mate and they'll have a kid, 100%. But human beings don't do that. Human beings are supposed to have recovered from all those desires, and you come to a state wherein you reproduce only because there is a need for it, and after that the urge should slowly ebb away. Till you don't ebb away from these sort of urges, you will continuously be in a state where either you could go lower into a species that really enjoys that. You are continuously thinking of getting a new partner, you are continuously chasing after that. You might be born as an animal that can continuously engage in that, and your lifespan might be just 10 years, and you will come back as a human being. Are you recovering from that? Have you recovered from this urge? Do you no longer have that urge? Then you come. As simple as that. So anything in excess is a danger. Any dietary, be it dietary, you have a thirst for continuously experiencing fresh kind of food. You're questing after food. This is all extremely dangerous desires, and don't try to control it if that is the case. Let's say that you have a desire you're not able to control. Realize that this birth might not be your final one. You probably will have another birth, just so that you can continuously go after him and do his dharma karya. Propagate him, propagate the right way of living, and propagate the moksha padam and live the physical existence itself. So this is how you manage desires and understand why you desire certain things, and be very careful when you think of those desires once you have touched into Bhairava sadhana and you are advancing in the sadhana, because that could be your ticket to one more life where you get that life. Yes, you are a mere laborer living in a hut, and you have this impossible dance moves and all that. Your fellow laborers are all like enjoying your dances and all, but there is no progress. Then let's say that you are a huge Bhairava Upasak, you might come back as a great dancer again. So anything extraordinary that you see in life, extraordinary wealth, extraordinary cricketer, extraordinary footballer, extraordinary teacher, whatever it is, an extraordinarily famous, powerful cop, the highest rank in the military, all this are desires that sadhakas had, and they come back and they achieve it like this. They fly. Either they go back to the path in that life itself, and they realize that, oh no, I've done it, but something I'm not happy about something, and then they touch back onto the path, and then in that life itself they have extraordinary progress. Or if they manage the karma well, that is of course there. You create new karma, then you have new birth. They might get that exit in that birth itself, or after that they'll have another birth where they urge to run after that game of cricket, or that urge to get onto the dance stage again, but they're not being allowed to do that, and they have that pent up inside them. Then they come into the path of the deities. Then they realize that they're no longer interested in that. So that no longer interested in that part is very important when you get into the sadhana of Bhairava, especially because he is 100% the path of moksha, and he will continuously put you back, and you will. So the worst case, so the positive news in this is the worst case scenario also you will have a great birth. If you're very sincere in this one, if you do not get out of that desire, my own example, if I had something that I really wanted to achieve in life, and if I had not conquered that, and if I sit in front of Bhairava, there will be situations where I see something like that coming up. I will see the person who I wish that I had been before the sadhana days, and if I still wish for it, I might probably come back just for it. This is the point. This is a very important point. If come back, and if you want to enjoy, come back. But what if you come back in 2020, 50, 2250? How will that be? How will life be? How bad everything would be? There will be no trees, full of concrete. People will be everything will be a mess. Do you really want to come back in a physical body at that point? No matter how much, even the deity's powers itself will be waning. Are you sure you want to come back? So get rid of those desires. Understand, as soon as you hold Bhairava sadhana in hand, you should understand what is your latent desire that sleeps inside your jiva, and realize that either you conquer it or you realize that there will be a birth for that desire. This is very important, especially for those who are interested in moksha and moksha path. So the other subject of the video is the garbhagriha within your jiva. So many of you have been texting me, and generally when people text me, be it in person also, they generally tend to open up without realizing that they're opening up into very intricate details of their life, be it a painful marriage, be it a terrible parent who has caused them a lot of pains. It happens. So one such, I'll tell you a small story here, from a real life story. So I was meeting somebody for the first time in my life, and the conversation was just very initial, like just first meeting itself. Usually I'm quite guarded in the way I ask questions, but out of nowhere I just blurted out a question to him and asked him, what about your kids? And the person, he really, for a minute he closed down. His complete body kind of sort of trembled, and he became very sad. He said that I don't like to talk about that. Even I don't know why I asked him, because I'm usually very polite, and when you meet somebody new, but I asked him that question. After some time, a few hours had passed, and he sort of came back and he said that he wants to have a conversation with me. I said okay, yeah. We just went to a tea shop, and that is where he opened up, and he was really that towards the end of his middle age, he sort of got into sadhana path and had a kid, and the kid was a special child, and she passed away before she could reach her 7 years of age, and the death also was quite painful. So why did he have a kid? Why did he wish while being in the sadhana? Why did he wish for the kid? Why was the kid given? And why did the kid pass off? What was the reason for it? And the kid had suffered for a prolonged period where she started getting emaciated because the kid could no longer consume food, and slowly that kid left. So why did that happen in that person's life? That is residual karma, and the god deity to whom he had prayed is none other than one of the forms of Shiva. Towards the end of that kid's life, just a few hours before that kid passed, he had gone back to the deity and he had lit a lamp and wished that she goes well. After the kid had passed away, he now, while talking to me, he said he no longer fears death, because this small child, after suffering for so many months, getting emaciated and getting into becoming a human skeleton, had slowly for 5-6 hours her heart beat, and slowly she opened her mouth and life was gone. Why did he get that child? What was the message in that child? The message is very simple. So he, as a person, was not into the path of sadhana, but he started chasing after Shiva, and instead of what he was supposed to incur in another life, he incurred in this life. He was not meant to have that child, but he had the desire for oneness with Shiva, at the same time holding this desire to have a child also. The child came, special child. That first 6 or 7 years they've had really good time. In fact, he says that he doesn't have any regrets of the child being born like that, and he really enjoyed with that child. But when the kid left, it kind of broke him and also made him really strong. So essentially what he has done is, in that short span, he has burnt the karma of another birth. He has burnt a karma. He was never meant to have that child, but he had that child. He burnt that karma. He recovered from it, and now he's like a stone. He says that I asked him, would you wish to adopt a child now? He said no. The desire to have that child is now gone. I no longer wish to have this child, or any child for that matter. What came to me was something special. As I told him, what came to you was something special. There was a reason why that child came to you. There's a reason why that child left. You go in the path of Shiva. He has finished that huge karma from you. In the short span of 5 years, whatever pain a child could give you, children always give pain to the parent till the day that you pass off. Right from the birth of the child, where the mother goes through the pain of the childbirth. Then she goes through the sleepless nights, depression. She doesn't know how to express it. Fights in the house are obviously going to happen when the mother is completely drained, when the father has to fend for the family also, and also go take part in the children's, the child newborn's welfare, physical welfare. Everything is going to be strained. So having a child is pain, but we still have it because that is the design of karma. So having a special child who will leave him in just 5, 6 years, 7 years, that is the design that he has been accelerated in that path. Whether he realizes that or not, ultimately at the last few stages of his life, he will start getting realizations of why that has happened. And he will not fear death anymore. He will embrace it. He has in that birth gotten rid of that desire to have a child, and now he and his wife are living well. So when you get into the sadhana of any deity, if there is any latent, leftover desire, be it a desire to emulate a past life, from the childhood, you say somebody who was a great orator or a very powerful king is reborn as a middle class child. Don't you think that it will be there in that soul's latent memory, wherein without his own knowledge, you will not have a proper vision of your last birth, unless you are very advanced in your sadhana. But without the child's knowledge, what this child would do is continuously project that. He will be extraordinary in commanding people, but he's born as a middle class child. He'll get rapped on his head by his friends and parents. He is not a king in this birth. So this is where you get rid of these desires little by little. So when you go in the path of Shiva, when you go in the path of Shakti, expect that you will burn a lot of karma, and some things will happen just so that you get rid of those desires. So coming back to the second part of the video, the Garbhagriha within the Jiva. Nobody with a perfect life is fit for spiritual path. This is an understanding that you have to take into your Jiva. I told you, right? Human beings who have very basic level needs, they just need a promotion, they're happy. They just need to go for 2 vacations, they're happy. The child goes to the school and he achieves something on the stage, he's so happy. These are all very signs of a soul that's just entering into the human realms. Maybe 1 or 2 births, maximum. Somebody who's been it for 10, 15, 20 or maybe 100 births, who knows. That person will be born into complete procedural collapse, wherein there will be pain points so that he doesn't enjoy the physical birth to an extent that he forgets the purpose of the Jiva itself. This is where your design is set. So if you do not have a great father, if you do not have a great mother, if you do not have a great wife, you do not have a great husband, your children are giving you pain, please understand, within your Jiva itself, there is empty Garbhagriha where you place the deity. You invoke that deity with full bhakti as your husband, as your wife, as your son, as your baby, as your spouse, whatever it is. So if you find that your actual spouse or your actual father is not an extraordinary support system in your house, and they make no sense there's a very obvious help that you need, and these people are their eyes are getting closed and they're not even able to see your suffering, please understand that is a design. And if you're in the sadhana, you should realize why it is happening. Physically, Be genuine to that person so that you don't incur further karma. Be genuine to that person. If he's your father and he's been terrible to you, you be genuine to them. Be a stone. Render basic seva to them. Do not get into a fighting mode with them. Be cordial, just so that you do not incur extra karma. Don't be reactive. Don't burst out. Keep this in the jiva must continuously communicate to the ego. Why? Why you have that father? Why you have that mother? Why you have that wife? Why you have that sister? Why you have that brother? Why you have that husband? Realize there is something that is keeping you away from having a great life because your path is different. Do not get too comfortable because you have been given a lot of good things, whatever you wished for in some births, and now it's a time for you to get out of this place. When it is a time for you to get out of this place, how will you have a very comfortable life? People chasing after. I belong to a field wherein I am exposed to people from every facet of life. People who think that a smallest car that is being sold today is extraordinary family moment, or people who have cars worth 2-3 crores lying in the entire garage. I've met both kind of people I meet every day. So I'm in that kind of a field, and I have intricate discussions with these people. So I can assure you, if you have everything in life, please understand that there has been a reason why you had that life. If you realize in that life itself, you will progress in the path of moksha. If you do not realize in that life, you have another life just without any of that, but realize why you have those latent memories, why you chase after a great car while you're not able to afford a great car. Why is that so? Because it is a previous life's memory. Get rid of that. In Bhairava sadhana, get rid of that. That will be the design why you take another birth. Why you have an urge to do something, but you're not able to do that at all. You look at your finances, you look at your family, ancestral wealth, and you think that this doesn't tally. Why do I have the urge to own a 5 crore car, whereas I am kept well, I'm doing well, but why do I have that urge? It is from another birth. Submit to Bhairava that desire and tell him, I have no interest in that. Please do not give me another life just to attain that car, just to attain that bungalow. This is sufficient. Because if you have another life, you will be born in 2350. What if you're born in 2550? If you got the car in 2550, after that you have a middle class life. What will be the life of a middle class man in 2550? What are the difficulties he will face as he goes to work for a corporate that will want to suck his blood every second? How much of pain? And you will be in that kind of a place, so that you remember the deity at least then. And once you remember, once you enter into the sadhana, remember to let go. Do not try to continuously hold on to things once you are in the path of sadhana, in the path of Bhairava. You jump. Just an example, don't go and do this. If anybody is a little depressed right now, don't immediately do this. Just an example. The sadhana of Bhairava is like jumping off a cliff. There are multiple trees on the way path. You're not reaching out to hold onto a branch. No, you have to trust and keep falling. So once you have realized that there are latent memories from previous births, there are desires which are unexplainable. You have placed the deity into one of your garbhagriha, that is empty, be it as a father, a mother, a sister, a daughter, a son, a brother, whatever, and you're going to him. You see that there is a lot of pain coming in that birth, but you realize all your desires of a previous birth. I've lived well enough. Now I do not want another birth to achieve that again and come back to this sort of a life. Jump. Don't try to grab onto the branches. Once you have jumped, realize that in that life, where you now realize that all your past births, you have had good life, you no longer did anything great in that life. You are simply giving off, and you will see that every facet of your life is taken care of. Until you try grabbing onto branches as you fall in the sadhana of Bhairava, you will not realize that you are just holding onto a branch. He is the whole fall itself, he is the whole cliff itself, he is the whole tree itself. It will take a second for Bhairava to completely change. If you're having a bad day in office, you're doing very powerfully progressing in Bhairava sadhana, go to him, cry. Do not crib to any human being. This is very important. Don't crib to any human being. Once you have realized that all your previous life desires that are there in your latent memory of your jiva, that these were all previous life and you no longer desire them, and you're going into this path without any new wishes other than for oneness with the deity. If you find difficulties coming in that life, go sit in front of him, cry your heart out and watch. Like this, problems will vanish. Do not physically get into a fight with anybody. Do not physically try to move the big stones that are in your path. Don't do it. You will find stones breaking. That your enemies are not able to focus on you. They will lose focus. Like they do not know, okay, why do I want to fight with this guy again? I forgot. Okay, I want to give him a bad time in his job. I forgot how to do that. Or he'll have some bigger problems because of which he's not able to focus on you. Once you get into sadhana, it's like jumping off a cliff. Stop trying to grab onto branches. Fall. The cliff will keep going. You will never hit anywhere. You need to trust this. That was a metaphor, please. Don't try that. So these are some of the tricks actually. So just to summarize, number one, any desire that cannot be fulfilled in this birth, it is a latent memory from a previous birth. Realization that you have had all that in a previous birth, you have come here in this path, you no longer desire for those. Realization of this is very important. Do not think that it is something you want in this birth again and that is why you have those memories. No, it is from a previous birth. Realize. Number one. Number two, place the deity into a garbhagriha that you see, because 100% if you are in the sadhana of Bhairava and you are meant for moksha, you will not have any one of the key relationships of life. You will not have that great spouse, you might not have the great kids, you might not have the great father, you might not have the great mother. Something will be amiss, so that you suffer and you do not get comfortable in the physical body because you are meant for something else. So don't get and start fighting for all that physically. Tell him, I realize the design now. Now I'm coming to you. The path is set. Please clear my path in this birth. Deal. That's how you go. If you're having a how do you not incur karma? If you find any big problem coming to you, remember you jumped from the cliff. Don't try to pull the branches, hold on to a tree, jump. If you jumped, sadhana is a jump, right? You jump of faith. Don't try to hold on. Talk to him. I've come to this path. This situation wherein I will fight with A, B, C, D, my neighbor, somebody on the street, somebody's a boss, a wife, a husband. If I fight with them today, that will incur and put me into more karma. So, you please clear that. Put an understanding into their head so that they don't see me. So that I can walk in your path again. See? I've recovered from all my desires. This sort of small irritations, please remove it. That is how you navigate getting into unnecessary karma as you progress in the path of Bhairava. Understanding why you have certain desires which cannot be fulfilled, it is a latent memory. Placing the deity into your broken family or broken relationships, understanding the deity is that part. The terrible father, because deity is your father. That is why you have that father, and that father is there so that he has to incur some karma. That is why he was born as your father. That is why she was born as your mother. The deity is your mother. Once you realize that, next, no physical reactions for anything external. That is how you escape from any karma that you might incur. Talk to the deity and tell them, I know what you are doing. I know, you know that I know, so please remove it. It's gone. You have to trust this, alright? Stop trying to grab the branches once you have jumped. You entered the sadhana, that is like jumping from a cliff. You have realized. So I think the next video would have to be about chasing material things while being in Bhairava sadhana, and how to let it happen by itself and not physically chase it, because it's a fact. And none of this is something that I picked out from any spiritual leader's book. I do not read any spiritual books. I don't. Why I don't read spiritual books is because I do not want to get corrupted in my mind by the thought of a human. When you can see, I think this side you can see Bhairava Baba, my Vigraham. Whatever he tells me, I need to directly get it here. So anything I talk about, I've not read it anywhere. Much later when I think that, okay, I've been saying this, what if I'm just a madman sitting in between this 4 walls and imagining all foolish things? And then what he'll do is he'll suddenly send somebody, will out of nowhere come and walk to me like they're a zombie. They'll stand in front of me and they say, I read the spiritual book of this person and he said these lines, and he'll go away. Then I'll say, okay, thank you for meeting me, bye. And then I'll go and talk to him and I'll say that, thank you, this is what was my thought, this is what I told the others also, and now you sent a confirmation, an affirmation that it was true. So please stop chasing human beings. Bhairava is a very, 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 very talkative guru. He loves to talk with you, and even more talkative than Bhairava is the dearest Adi Shakti Ma Kali. So stop trying to control your life. If you're in this path, please understand that you have a lot of other human births that you've finished and you've come here. There will be a lot of desires from that. Uproot it. Tell him, I will not fall for your trick again. I've understood that this is from that birth. I have already attained it. Throw that out of my life. And you keep moving. Place the deity into every broken relationship that you have. You have a terrible father, he is your father. You have a terrible mother, he is your mother. You have a terrible spouse, that deity is your mother, wife, husband, child, whatever. Your child is, you have a child who is no longer even picking your phone and talking to you. He doesn't give a damn about you. He is incurring the karma of the mother, the pain of the mother's karma, he is incurring. You, on the other hand, be civil to that child. Be civil to your husband. Be civil to your wife. You don't even allow them to have a chance to send a curse, because karma works like that. You go and tell Bhairava Baba, see, that person was very bad to me. I have been good to them. So please remove that and let me walk in your path. Life will move like this. So please understand, Bhairava Sadhana is not about mantras alone. Bhairava Sadhana is not about yantras alone. Bhairava Sadhana is about you. You have come to a state where it is not about temples anymore. It is not about reading books anymore. Bhairava Sadhana, till you keep your head inside the book, even if the deity comes and stands in front of you, you will continue to read the book. Sometimes you need to raise your head. See, he's standing in front of you. He's trying to give you messages. There are messages in the trees, the leaves. Suddenly something comes out of nowhere. Why? Why did it come to your life? Realize that procedural collapse. Everything begins to collapse, and that is the path of Bhairava. And why did it collapse? So that you realize. As simple as that. Calm down. If you have a terrible relationship, be happy. Okay. Don't incur more karma in that by taking hate from that person. Keep that person well, so that his karma anyway is running around. There's a reason why he's been terrible to you. But you understand. You don't be terrible. You understand the design. Let each thread of that karma realize, okay, you learn to read the thread. Okay, why is he doing this to me? There is something here. Go talk to him. This is how you navigate karma, and you do not get stuck in fresh karma, and you do not get stuck in your past birth also, the desires from the past birth also. Tell him that I have come here, I have understood. Don't take me back. I don't need it. Take me out of physics. So that video got, this video got cut because I ran out of storage. I'm just doing this on my phone. I take that as a nimitta, and so we have come to the end of today's video. I will not be going to most of the bookish stuff, because you have plenty of videos, and there is a reason why all the mantras, all the vidhis, ritualistic stuff have come on the net. Do not shy away from reading as much as you want, but if you are under Upadesha of somebody, just follow it, like I told you in yesterday's video. So anyway, I will tell you as and when he projects something on my head, I will come online and talk about that. And whoever texts me, and if something opens up wherein I feel that there is a need to put that in a video, I will definitely be coming online for that. I think maybe a maximum of 10-15 videos is the maximum I'm looking at in this channel. Beyond that, I don't think I'll be very regular. There will be a state where I no longer come online, and generally I am quite anti people. I don't really there is some karma for which I am still exposed to the world, and I am still going about a career and all that. So once that is done, I believe I will just go into my cocoon and never come out again. So with that, I'll just close today's video before she gets angry and cuts off my video again. Bhairava Kalike Namostute. Om Namo Bhairavaya Namo Namah. Om Namo Bhairavaya Swaha. Jai Ma Kali.